Namaskar and welcome to this exciting new show, Sattology, Debunking Mythology. We are here with a very new special guest. She is a publisher and she enables new writers to get some wings. And she has very famous authors in her publications who have come on this show. So right today we got the the publisher herself. So many of you must have heard, or some of you have may not have ever heard, because of you are you've not been to the Indian author scene. So we have this great personality who will talk to us about her journey and what she believes in and what kind of authors she encourages. So let us hear from her. So let us welcome Renu Kaul from Vitasta Publication. Did I pronounce it right?
Yes, yes. Not many people are able to actually pronounce it well, but you pronounced it not only well, but exactly what the pronunciation was, perfect. So I began this journey of Vitasta. It's been 15 years now. On Monday we are going to be 15. So our birthday is also approaching. So all these 15 years has been a rich experience, a highly satisfying journey. In fact, if I go back, I worked with. I was a journalist. I started my career with Indian Express, and I was there for a brief while of about 7-8 months, and then I moved to Hindustan Times. So Hindustan Times, I was there for 10 years, and there came a time when I, began feeling that I was not doing enough. There was a desire to do much more than I was contributing there. I was a copy editor. My husband was also a journalist, so we had decided that one of us would stay in the office and one of us would go out and do reporting. So this was a decision taken for 10 long years, and then I thought that what I'm going to do. But I know that I was destined to be a publisher, and one of my friends, he just brought a manuscript to me because I was feeling very sad in Hindustan Times at that point in time, and he brought me this manuscript and said that this is going to be a very challenging task, and why don't you take it up? Actually, I was not aware of the subject. It was about Gandhiji's Brahmacharya experiment, Gandhiji and his women associates. Till that time, you can imagine in 2003 or 4, nobody could talk about this. This was a subject in India. So I was very excited, but at the same time very skeptical because it was a very sensitive topic, and the manuscript was about 4 lakh words. So but it was very well documented and a lot of references. So I well accepted because of the reference. So I worked on it. It took me about a year to edit it. So we brought it down to 1 lakh words from 4 lakh words. Author was very happy to see the manuscript. He took it to several publishers, Penguin, Harper, all of them. But but everybody rejected it. So, it was a very emotive issue and very sensitive, and nobody would obviously, each publishing house would not. She came back to me, and I was, itching to do something. So I thought, why not try this? Because I had nothing to lose. I decided that I'm going to publish this. So this book actually started my publishing career, and it has and as soon as this book was published, 2006 January, I remember, World Book Fair, I put up a small stand and displayed this book. And you will not believe, every newspaper, every prominent newspaper in the country, even the electronic medium, there used to be this Just Books in the TV. So they interviewed us, me and my author, and it was all over the place. And so that is how my journey into publishing began. And I think, there was no looking back after that. And I had several, I had this Naxal story, which I guess the manuscript was with Picador, and they were just sitting over it for the last 2 years, and the author was getting restless, and he withdrew it and gave it to me. So that is what, destiny plays its part. I think I was destined to be there, and this book came. Then another book, Dalit Phobia, Why Do They Hate Us? So again, it was written about by most prominent people in the country. Bhanu Pratap Mehta wrote about it in Outlook. We carried a long piece on this book. This book also came by chance. We went to this author. He was a friend of ours, Chandraban Prasad. He for a dinner party, and he was just talking about how the forward class caste, they hate Dalits, and he said that it was a pathological hatred. And he just gave us an example that you go back from here. If I tell you tomorrow that you have eaten dog meat here, so you'll not be able to eat anything. So it immediately struck us that why not have a book on this? And he immediately agreed, and he wrote a book, and it again was a bestseller. So that's how the journey began, actually.
No, it's such an interesting story because most of the times, as a writer, you don't focus on the quality content. And I think what you are saying is that when the content is quality, you don't have to sell it. You get buyers.
Absolutely.
So it's all about creating a unique unique content which people can be absorbed by the people. Now, another point that I have is, or question I have is, where there are a lot of things in the, I call it a sort of renaissance of the Indian literature in today's world now. More and more people wanting to express themselves, write themselves. The thing which comes to the mind, and I think that's a great selling point to the world, is correcting Indian history. What do you think about that?
Well, the current scenario, it is, you know how it is. It is either here or there. There is nothing called objectivity. People don't want to touch emotive issues, and they most of the publishers and most of the media, that they are, they kind of, if you talk about Hindu or about certain narrative, so you are not taken that kindly. Not many people would want to touch that literature. So but I believe if 50% or maybe more people they believe in certain narrative, so why don't you? It is our bread and butter. It's our publishing is a business. So why are you guided by your ideology? You may be having a certain kind of ideology, but then if people want to read, if people suppose we did this book about Hindu terror, myth of Hindu terror.
You're on mute.
I lost many good, friends from journalism days because they did not believe in this. They said that you are, creating that divide. Although it is not I who was trying to create that divide. It is they who don't, because of they're so closed in their minds. They are not opposing by giving logic. They just because they don't believe in this, and they maybe it has become a fad. Uh, when Mr. Money came to me, I was also thought that I don't know, this is very sensitive and he has lots of claims and I don't know whether they are true also. So, but after I read them, the publishers, the only thing publishers should be bothered about is that every claim, whether it is right, left, or whatever, so it should be, well substantiated. That is what I should be bothered about. So let us, publishers should understand that they just have to provide that literature and let people decide what is what. People are not fools. So they do understand what is right and what is wrong. Of just providing the literature, to provide them that literature. So that is the scenario in the country right now.
Yeah, good point you made. I think there is the mood of the nation also defines the ideas also, because the India has become far more optimistic after 2014, ever since Narendra Modi government first formed, and people have hopes. And I can relate myself to pre-2014 era where people had no hope. I mean, people had given up on India as corruption, and I think the Sonia and her team, they had literally sold India to the masses, to the world. So, I remember that time. So now the new generation which is coming up is going to is going to question everything, whether it's a Congress government or political side or dharmic side. People are going to question a lot of things. How open you are to these kind of ideas when people come to you with all those requests?
Well, as I said, that I am open to any ideas, whether any narrative. The only thing I look for is making should be well substantiated. It should be backed by proper references. That is the only thing. And as I said, that I leave it to the audience. Audience are intelligent enough to understand what is what. So especially the children today, they are very clear in their minds. They know what is happening, and in fact, I was talking to one aspiring author, and she writes beautifully, and I find her very logical. So I asked her, why don't you do a survey and then write about it? Because of all this narratives being fed or being spread, whether it is false or, there is certain kind of narrative which is being fed to these youngsters. So I was just asking her to do a survey and then see how many people who have been apolitical or who have been maybe slightly leftist also, they are turning right. And you see a sizable number. I know so many people who have been apolitical or who have been leftists in their student days. They are turning right. So it is not because their ideology has changed. It is because of that negativity, probably. Are all change time.
No, leftism has a very short shelf life. So I've never seen a leftist who is 40. So mostly the leftists are in their 20s and 30s. And after that, they all graduate because when the pressure
No,
of
but
making.
yeah, that is the trend. Mostly it is like that, but then you see a lot of leftists or liberals, so-called liberals, I won't call them liberals, so-called liberals in the media, in publishing. Most of the publishers, they follow that narrative.
Yeah, there has been no liberal. Once they have a child, there is no liberal left after that, because you have to feed the child. You have to. So it's a leftism, but by the time they wake up, they've already produced so much damage to the society. So I think it's a vicious circle. Now coming back to another thing.
That is, I think, a different kind of bhakti. If they call the other people, the people with contrary opinions, bhakts. So they are also certain kind of bhakts. So they are also blind to. They're so intolerant. They don't want to hear the other opinion.
The intolerant argument has lost its shine in India because the intolerance was used selectively against one community, which is Hindus mostly. Now, coming back to the one thing you said about children, because children are oftentimes the most neglected part of any literary work. Children are the most neglected because, in a way, most of the children in India have to watch Western content as a child when they're growing up, or which is also a Indian but westernized Indian content. Most of the children have to see that. So do you have any programs for children, or
Yeah.
do you get many authors for children?
Voice is breaking.
Yeah, can I
No, things are changing now. I remember I have two boys. My elder one used to be a prolific reader. So he is now 19. So when he was in school, he would read, but read only Western authors. So I tried to inculcate in him, you know, uh, I brought books by Indian authors, Indian literature, but he would never develop that interest for Indian this thing. But now I think things are changing. We have a lot of authors writing Indian stuff for children. In fact, I have started. I'm working on a series of books, illustrated books for children from age group of 8 to uh, 12, and these are going to be those inspiring biographies of unsung freedom fighters, heroes, then something on Indian literature, Indian philosophy. Then civic sense is lacking in our country, unfortunately. So many books on those civic sense and morality. Although I would be looked down upon, if I say that I am wanting children to read, stories which have some moral values, because people are against moral policing these days. But then children have to be told. I remember when I was a child, my father would get me only Indian books with moral values, and I don't see that happening now. Children. Uh, Although I'm not saying that there is some problem with the children today, they're very clear-headed, they're very intelligent, but those, moral stories, they don't want to read, they don't want to be taught. So they want to learn by themselves. They don't want to be fed those. Even children, even parents, if they want to tell children something, they don't listen and they want to learn it by themselves. So, but we have to take this step. I think schools have a greater role to play. Publishers have a greater role to play. We have to make these stories available. We have to, maybe parents, they should read out these stories to toddlers.
No, you're very right because we treat our childrens like small toys. We never let them grow. And when they grow up, they straight away meet the leftist universities and colleges. That's where we start taking them as adults. I think we have to start making them adults much younger. Tell them about the world much younger. So before they hit the college, most of the times I've seen, especially in the US, I've seen we treat our kids with really kids gloves. And I tell people that you are an adult. Treat a kid with an adult glove. Talk to them as if they're real people, because nowadays the maturity level of the kids, they reach maturity far earlier than what
Yeah.
earlier used to be. And so because they have exposure to all the social media and everything else, so their mindset is way develops much faster.
Mhm.
Look at most of the kids books in the US. Most of the kids books have lot of new content, which is, I was surprised that one of the book I read in which they were talking about different forms of government in a very simple way. So the kids get indoctrinated into what's going on in society. It was from a leftist publication, but I saw the propaganda in a children's book, which is supposed to be read to an 8 or 9 year old kid. I'll send you the book name in a private message. And so this is going on. But some with the Indian kids, when I say Indian American kids, they are living in a very secured, protected life until they become just about to hit the college. It's already late because the moment they hit the college, they're going to go straight left, ultra left, and the dharmic value will all be thrown in the dustbin right after that. So, what do you think about that?
I think we'll have to buy as soon as they enter college. We maybe teachers they are I should not say this, but maybe they have a class and they are able to influence very good quality of teachers in universities. So it should not only be, I mean, I have seen it. I don't know whether it is politically correct to say this, but I have seen this that many appointments, new appointments, they see people from a particular background to enter. So I'm not against that, but then that should not be the only criteria. So teachers have to be very effective. Teachers have to be very inspiring. They have to have that personality to influence children. So maybe it is there something is lacking. That's my personal opinion.
Thank you so much, Renji. I think for coming on the show. We'll come up with some more topics and we'll have a next session very soon. And for the viewers who are watching, uh, become a writer. So you have met one publisher, Renu Kaul from Vitasta Publication. So please, you can reach her out. Her website link will be on the show below. And thank you all for watching. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you.